She stepped off the plane in Cincinnati with a fresh haircut, trimmed nails, and the weight of a nation still on her shoulders. But the moment she walked into the Lindner Family Tennis Center, the crowd that had been waiting for her erupted. Before she had even touched a ball. The roar that greeted Eala at the Lindner Family Tennis Center was not the polite applause reserved for a rising star. It was the kind of reception usually reserved for returning champions. The Filipino flags that had packed SoBi Stadium in Toronto had followed her across the border. The chants of "Eala! Eala!" that had echoed through the Canadian night were now filling the Ohio air. And she hadn't even played a single point yet. The phenomenon that had stunned tournament directors in Washington and Toronto had officially arrived in Cincinnati. "Alex is an absolute blessing to the sport of tennis," tournament director Carl Hale had said in Toronto. Now, the blessing was Cincinnati's to witness. Eala's journey from Toronto to Cincinnati had been a whirlwind. Just days earlier, she had suffered a heartbreaking 6-4, 6-0 loss to Olympic gold medalist Belinda Bencic, snapping her 7-match winning streak. The exhaustion from 8 matches in 12 days had finally caught up with her. She had admitted she was tired and down, but she had also promised to come back stronger. "I definitely will take maybe 2 days off, a day or two," Eala had said after the Toronto loss, a smile breaking through the exhaustion. "I need to get a haircut. I haven't gotten a haircut in a while. My nails are grown out." She had laughed, and in that moment, the weight of the past 2 weeks seemed to lift, if only for a second. Now, with her hair trimmed and her nails filed, Eala had arrived in Cincinnati as the number 17 seed, the highest seeding of her career at a WTA 1000 event. Her current world, no. 20 ranking secured her a first-round bye, giving her precious time to recover before the main draw begins. The tournament, which features an expanded 96-player singles draw, runs from August 13 to 23 in Mason, Ohio. The reception she received upon arrival was a testament to how far she had come. The Filipino diaspora that had transformed Toronto into a celebration of pride had now descended on Cincinnati. The Lindner Family Tennis Center, which had never seen anything quite like this, was preparing for a wave of red, white, and blue flags. "It's the pleasure of my life to experience crowds like this," Eala had said in Toronto. Now, Cincinnati was about to experience the same phenomenon. The arrival that stopped Cincinnati was just the beginning. The Eala Express had arrived, and the tennis world was watching to see what would happen next. The tears had barely dried. The exhaustion was still etched across her face. But Eala had made a promise to herself, to her team, and to the thousands of Filipino fans who had turned Toronto into a sea of red, white, and blue. She would come back stronger. The loss to Belinda Bencic had been a humbling experience, a 6-4, 6-6 error defeat that snapped her 7-match winning streak and ended her Canadian Open campaign in the round of 16. The fatigue from 8 matches in 12 days, 5 in Washington, 3 in Toronto, had finally caught up with her. She had admitted she was tired and down. The physical toll was visible. The emotional weight of carrying a nation's hopes had been immense. But as she walked off center court at SoBi Stadium, waving to the crowd that had embraced her like family, Eala knew that this wasn't the end. It was just a chapter. "I'm counting my blessings," she said in her post-match press conference. "I'm taking the lessons that I've had from these 2 weeks and hopefully implementing them even more and in a better way in Cincinnati and New York." The reset. The first thing Eala did after Toronto was exactly what she needed: nothing. For a player who had been in constant motion for nearly 2 weeks, the 2-day break was a luxury she had earned. "I definitely will take maybe 2 days off, a day or two. I do have to travel to Cincinnati," she said, a smile breaking through the exhaustion. "I need to get a haircut. I haven't gotten a haircut in a while. My nails are grown out." She laughed. And in that moment, the weight of the past 2 weeks seemed to lift, if only for a second. "Yeah, I'll do a couple things, just to get my mind off tennis. I think Toronto's a great place to do that. Reunite maybe with some friends in Cincinnati, and just try to have fun. I'll be back on court like that, so I got to enjoy what I have. I got to enjoy the time that I have that I'm not on court. The lessons learned despite the loss, Eala refused to let the defeat define her Toronto experience. She had arrived in Canada with momentum from her historic Washington title, and she had given the Filipino community something to celebrate. "I think I've played really well. I've gotten through so many obstacles," she reflected. Of course, right now there's that initial kind of just a little tired and down from the match. But I'm healthy, which is something I'm super grateful for. The victory over Alicia Parks had been a statement, a revenge-fueled performance that proved she was a different player since Melbourne. The three-set battle against Catty McNally, fought through an injury scare, had tested her resilience, and the support from the Filipino community had been unlike anything she had ever experienced. "It's hard to describe to other people the feeling of being in that stadium full of fans and all the love," she said. "I'm super grateful for the experiences that I've had here in Toronto. It's been an amazing debut. I'll carry these memories with me for a really long time." The promise, as she packed her bags and headed to Cincinnati, Eala carried with her more than just the lessons of defeat. She carried the endorsement of legends, the support of a diaspora, and a renewed sense of purpose. "I'm taking the lessons that I've had from these 2 weeks and hopefully implementing them even more and in a better way in Cincinnati and New York," she said. Her no. 17 seeding at the Cincinnati Open, the highest of her career at a WTA 1000 event, was proof that the tennis establishment had taken notice. She had earned her place among the elite, and she was ready to prove that the exhaustion, the tears, and the heartbreak of Toronto had only made her stronger. "I'm counting my blessings," Eala said, and as she prepared for her next challenge, the tennis world was watching to see what she would do next. The victory over Alicia Parks was more than just a revenge win. It was confirmation of something the tennis world had been watching for months. Alex Eala had officially arrived among the elite. When the player list for the Cincinnati Open was released, Eala's name appeared in a position that would have been unthinkable just 1 year ago. She was seeded 17th at the WTA 1000 event at the Lindner Family Tennis Center in Mason, Ohio. The seeding was the highest of her career at a WTA 1000 level, surpassing even her no. 25 seed in Toronto just days earlier. Eala is ranked number 20 in the WTA World Rankings but could be seeded higher owing to the withdrawal of higher-ranked players. Reported the withdrawals of no. 6 Karolina Muchova, number 12 Victoria Mboko, and number 15 Jasmine Paolini had pushed Eala up the seeding list, but the recognition was still significant. The top 32 seeds, led by World No.